I thought the best way of kicking off this video was letting you know I found actual gold. If you are a pistachio fan, which I very much am, these sweet chili pistachios are one of the greatest things I've ever consumed in my entire life. So if you find them at the grocery store, do not walk by them. Buy them. So if you guys remember, I used to have a homemade deep chest freezer ice bath, and I loved it. It just stopped working. So we upgraded the home deep chest freezer to a cold plunge. So over the next couple days and weeks, I'll find a place for this in the house and get this set up and start doing cold plunges every morning, which is going to be awesome. About to go for a 9-mile run, and last week we just wrapped up week 2 of the Racoon 100 miler prep, which is in February. So we're on week 3 right now, and as a lot of you guys know and I've talked about, I'm working with Zach Bitter for my coach, and I'm actually hopping on a call with him this afternoon to just go over the program so far, go over the workouts, and provide some insight for you guys on expectations moving forward going into February. Now, last week we wrapped up a 62-mile week. This week, mileage is a little bit higher, but the way Zach programs is based off of time and effort. So it's not go do a 9-mile run. It is go run for an hour and 15 minutes at an effort between 4 and 5. That's what I had this morning. 1 hour, 15-minute run, effort between 4 and 5. And then like Saturday, this coming Saturday, I have a 2-hour, 30-minute run, which I'm planning to get around 19 miles in. So working with Zach has been great so far. About to go knock out this run. The weather is beautiful. Temperatures are cooler. There's like no humidity. It rained last night. Perfect conditions. I sometimes get the question through DM, email, comments about chafing. Like, what do I do about chafing? The only place I really ever chafe is like in my inner thighs, and then for longer runs, sometimes if I'm wearing like a vest or a pack, I'll get it like my armpit area. You can use like any type of anti-chafe cream. This is what I use for Leadville. It's called Squirrel's Nut Butter. So essentially what I'll do before these runs is I'll just throw on some of this stuff, like for me, right in my inner thigh. Lube up so you don't chafe. And that's it. Epic run. That was amazing, and it was cool, which means it was fast. 9.15 miles in 1 hour, 15 minutes, 11 seconds at an 8:13 minute per mile pace. And I'm absolutely starving right now. So we're gonna go in, make breakfast. You guys know the drill. Morning supplement stack as soon as I finish running. In this shaker bottle right here, I have 1 scoop of our electrolyte powder to replenish what was lost during that run. 1 scoop of strong greens, our greens superfood nutrient powerhouse. 1 scoop of strong reds, which is the red-based version of our superfood nutrient powerhouse, which both of those together is going to help with natural energy, boosted immune system, improved digestion, reduced gas and bloating, just overall feel better. And then capsule-wise, 1 serving of strong multivitamin, and then 1 serving of strong joints right here. And This is just one of those breakfast meals that I keep going back to because it's so good and just hits the mark. This is my protein sludge bowl. So what's mixed up in here is first I mix up a tablespoon of organic cacao powder, flaxseed, 1 scoop of vanilla vegan protein, 1 scoop of chocolate whey protein. The combination of the whey and the vegan just makes for a great consistency. Mix that up with almond milk, and then I add peanut butter, honey, cacao nibs, unsweetened coconut flakes. Mix all of it up and top it with a banana. It's to die for. October is a pretty crazy month for us. So last week we had the Story Brand team come in and do a private workshop with our team, which was amazing. Like, if you are a business, an organization, profit or nonprofit, I highly recommend doing a private workshop with Story Brand. They come in, they help you clarify your message through storytelling with their 7-part framework. This is a company owned by Donald Miller, who's one of my favorite authors and speakers. So we did that last week. This coming weekend, we have the BPN Ambassador Weekend. So a lot of our ambassadors are coming into town, where we rented out a theater Friday night, and we're hosting the Leadville 100 premiere in a theater. And then we're taking them all out on a boat Saturday on Lake Travis. We're also releasing the Leadville 100 doc on YouTube next weekend. And then myself, Joe, Preston, and Yuli head to Vegas for a week for Supply Side West, which is a big expo that includes ingredient suppliers, manufacturers. It's a great way to connect, network, build relationships, especially, right now with the supply chain issues going around throughout the world. So we'll be in Vegas, and the day we get back from Vegas, we start loading into Dell Diamond Stadium for the Rogue Invitational, which we are a primary sponsor for. So we'll be at the Rogue Invitational, and then it's Black Friday. Yeah, I'm about to hop on a call with my running coach right now, Zach Bitter. Just talk about the first 2 weeks of prep, where we're heading into, what the total time of running per week is going to look like, and just some details on moving into Rocky Racoon, which is early February. So let's go hop on that call with Zach right now. Everything feels solid, right? Mm-hmm. Like, mileage is higher. Last week I think it was 62 miles total that I logged. I was doing like 7 miles in the morning previously before starting this prep. Right now my average run is like 9 miles. Mm-hmm. Did 17 miles for my long run on Saturday, and then obviously I'll probably shoot for like 19 miles next weekend, going 2 hours 30 minutes. One question I wanted to ask, and I think a lot of people will have this question, what is the theory behind running for time and effort rather than, say, distance and pace?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it just tends to be a little bit more of an easier metric to use both universally and kind of within an individualized plan. So, like, if I'm trying to track how much volume you spend at a given intensity or like a given workout, I can kind of add time over the course of the plan. And you can somewhat do the same thing with mileage, depending on kind of what the training environment looks like, where it gets a lot more kind of fuzzies when you introduce any sort of environmental difference, where there's like a really hot day, or you go up to trails that have more technical aspects to them versus a track or a flat road. So when we do time and I send you out for, say, one of those base level runs, which some folks would consider kind of like the high end of zone 2 or like your aerobic threshold, kind of that top end of easy before you would kind of transition into a moderate intensity. If you do 60 minutes of that, it really wouldn't matter if you did that on like a 15% incline, on a flat track, over technical trail, or anything like that. You're still going to be getting the adaptations that we're looking for. So it tends to be just a little cleaner of a way to measure increases in where your fitness is at over time, or your toleration of how much of it is.
How do you see total time running each week progressing, and where do we kind of max out before we start to taper into Rocky Raccoon? Like how many hours of running?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So there's kind of a couple ways to maybe look at it. One is um, training load versus the time. So we're kind of early in your plan right now, so you haven't seen any of this yet. But we'll hit a phase in training where our kind of primary focus is speed work. And when we hit that phase, your training load could easily be just as high as it will be at the end of the plan when we phase almost all of that out for the most part and start focusing almost entirely on you running the things that are going to be very specific to what you'll do on race day. So your training load may be similar from one week to the next in that, even though like your time might be a lot longer. So like you'll hit points in your plan, and I base this off of kind of your past experience. I've got some folks who are kind of really, really new to running, or have never done 100 miles before, or had hardly even done any structured training in the past, and then followed low volume approaches. Their peak volume is still going to have to be, well, their peak volume and their peak training load is going to have to be relative to what they can tolerate. I like to call it micro stressing. We always want to be micro stressing the individual, and that's going to be based on where their fitness is at now and where they've gotten to historically. So for you, based on kind of what you've done historically and your experience within the sport, we actually have you peaking out at a pretty high volume near the end of the plan when we start getting into the back-to-back long run structure that you'll see in like those final weeks before the taper, where we hit almost up to 15 hours, I think, for your peak week. I think your peak week we have scheduled at 14 hours and 15 minutes.
My paces naturally are going to start dropping too, just because weather changes.
Mm-hmm.
So I get, I think being a bigger guy, I get hit by heat, humidity, and hills
Mm-hmm.
pretty easily. So what was great about my last marathon prep being in the fall and winter is with those cooler temps, I could really focus on aerobic base building. And I think that's going to be a key component going into Rocky Raccoon is I can use the fall and winter as these base building aerobic foundation moments with cooler temps, lower heart rates, and actually seeing my paces drop. So I always use that as an advantage as well. Right now, I am in our new expansion, which is an additional 20,000 square feet. It's getting built out right now. This lease goes live in 9 days. So in 9 days, the lease is fully executed and we can start moving in here. So they put this wall up back here. It's getting finished. It's just gonna get painted. They installed, if you can see these ducts right here, are air conditioning units. And then we'll have Precision Warehouse Design come in, and we already ordered all the racking. So we'll get this whole place filled with racking to hold for inventory. Because one of the things that we're doing moving into 2022 is opening up our lines of distribution and going retail. So we're gonna get into some stores, probably start in some small regions, and then hopefully push nationwide. So we're starting to work that, and we wanted to grab space because one, we need it for inventory, but two, anticipating we're gonna need to bring in more inventory for wholesale distribution orders. We wanted to grab it sooner rather than later. So now our full footprint of BPN is 45,000 square feet. To give you a little bit of reference of where this new spot is, that's it right there, 20,000 square feet. And then over here is our current space, which is 25,000 square feet. It would have been nice to have them connected, but there's no more open units on the other side of where we're currently at. So we'll have to get a box truck actually to transport in between buildings if we need to. But the warehouse logistics team will do a really good job at organizing certain SKUs so that we don't have to move too much. So there is this restaurant in our town that we love, and they have the best beef enchiladas ever. So I had the idea. To recreate these beef enchiladas, but replace the ground beef with elk. So that's what we're making tonight. Ground elk enchiladas. And I went on the restaurant's website to find out what kind of sauce they use. The sauce on their enchiladas is the guajillo chili sauce. So went to HEB, picked up some guajillo chilies, and I'll show you what goes into this recipe and how it turns out. So I'm gonna make the sauce first, and then we'll cook up the ground elk, mix it with some cheese, throw in some fresh HEB tortillas, and then bake it, and then boom, we'll see how it is. Now, obviously, the main ingredient in this recipe is the guajillo chilies. So I have 2 packs of these. What I'm about to do is take these out, cut off the stems, get the seeds out, and then throw them on a hot pan for about 15 minutes. That's what this bowl is for, is to collect the seeds and the stems. I also have 1 onion, some garlic cloves I'm going to chop up. This is olive oil, oregano, cumin, salt, pepper, and beef broth. So that's everything going in the sauce itself. Peppers are done, just a few minutes each side on that hot heat. I was heating up this water, so we're going to turn this off. This was boiling at one point. Now it's just pretty hot, and we're going to put these peppers in that water and sit in there for about 20 to 30 minutes. So what I have here is some chopped up garlic, about 5 to 6 cloves, and then about 3/4 of an onion. Now when I cook, I'm not super strict in measurements. And typically I'm pretty precise with my cutting, but this is all going into a blender. So what I'm gonna do is throw the onion and the garlic in a pan with oil. We're gonna cook that down and then start putting the whole sauce together. We're getting there. We're not there yet, but we're getting there. So we have the onions, garlic, and peppers in the blender. What I'm going to do now is add some beef broth. And we'll probably have to add some more, but for starters, let's say that's good. Also going to throw in cumin, oregano, salt, and pepper. So we're going to throw all this stuff in there and then blend it. Now this is the elk that we'll be using. I get this shipped in from Jackson Hole, Wyoming. I'll order like 40 pounds at a time. So I'll use 2 packs of this. We're gonna cook this up and then assemble our enchiladas. So we have the filling right here. This is the ground elk, and then I mixed in some of this cheddar jack cheese. It smells and looks delicious. Now we have these HEB fresh tortillas. All we're gonna do at this point is throw a little bit of the filling inside the tortilla, make our enchiladas. I like my enchiladas pretty full and stuffed. You need to have the appropriate meat to tortilla ratio. That's perfect right there, where you can barely close it. And we'll layer it in there. And we're gonna do all of these, and then after that, we'll put this red pepper sauce we just made over top, and then throw it in the oven. Ryder looks pretty hungry right there.
This is where Ryder eats dinner with us. Okay. Now I'm a little weary because I don't love gamey meats, so I'm gonna be honest. Okay, not gamey, very good. I've never really had dark sauce enchiladas. Bravo, Chef Bear or Berardi.
Now we did top it with cojita cheese and a little dollop of guacamole. So here we have a bite. You got the elk packed in there, which elk is a lean meat. That's why, or one of the reasons I love elk. It's a lean meat. Cheese, HEB fresh flour tortillas, the red pepper sauce. Any type of meat thrown in a tortilla with cheese is never a bad meal. The sauce balances out very well. Good dish. Elk is great. Give it a try. Let us know what you guys think.